Am I the asshole for not telling my ex-mother-in-law that my husband is adopting my child? Am I the asshole for not telling my ex-mother-in-law that my husband is adopting my child?
Backstory. My ex-husband, father of my child, M26, and I, F25, got divorced in 2021.
Since then I've had to beg, plead, and force any kind of contact between my child and bio father. When our divorce finalized, bio father was always too busy or never responded to my texts, calls to try and let him see my child. This did changed recently when he got a new very sweet girlfriend, F25.
My husband, M38, and I got together after my separation from ex-husband started and is very involved in my child's life. For the last 3 years that we have been together, married, he spends more time with my child than my ex has ever done without me even asking.
Recently my ex approached my husband and I and asked if my husband would adopt my child so he could get out of CS. My husband and I are overjoyed to start the process because we truly think it will benefit my child. About 2 months into getting the attorney, paperwork and funds together, my ex-mother-in-law found out and seemed upset. I understand this is very hard for everyone involved, but this was her son's idea.
Side note. When ex-husband was refusing to make time for my child, she would sneak my child over to see him and not inform me.
She then would lie to my face when I found out and raised concerns that the court order dictated that I was to have knowledge of all visitations and communications due to safety concerns during our divorce.
We are still going through with the adoption, but I'm afraid she will try and talk my ex into trying to fight it.
Am I the asshole or selfish in this? My child's well-being is all I'm trying to protect. Not the asshole.
Your ex should have talked to his mother about this. Once he approached your new husband, who sounds wonderful, about the adoption, that whole side of the family stopped being your problem. Your concern is the child's welfare, and it sounds like you are doing everything right.
If your former mother-in-law is upset, Ma Abe, she should have raised her son better. Woman shrugging. Not the asshole, she's your ex-mill, what she thinks doesn't matter. She would sneak my child over to see him and not inform me.
She then would lie to my face when I found out. Also, she flat out doesn't respect you and lies to your face. Why do you want to appease her so bad?
38 to 25, be careful.
He sounds great, but still, be careful.
Not the asshole.
You dated, became a mother and divorced before 22? Started dating again and now you are 25 and have been together and married again to your 38-years-old husband for at least 3 years? No. Your mother-in-law has no business being mad if her son wants to give up his rights, but girl. I know it wasn't your question, but yeah, wow.
Not the asshole. It is a weird situation.
If she asks later, you can tell X to tell her.
But you want full custody and a happy family, and the other parent wants the adoption to go through.
Letting his mother change his mind won't necessarily make him a better dad. If you think he will suddenly become the greatest guy, then, yeah, don't do it. But you know this person. You might have to deal with your child's biological family forever, though, and your kid might care to do that.
Not now, but in the future. How does your child feel about it? Am I the asshole for calling my son's teacher a bully and reporting her?
I, 41F, have a son who I will call Jack, 12M, with my husband, 42M. Jack has a speech impediment that causes him to stutter. It's not too bad at home, but he really struggles to speak in front of other people due to some past bullying. He's okay when it's just his friends, but if he has to speak in front of the whole class, he can take several minutes to finish a sentence, which he finds very upsetting. Me and my husband have spoken to the school and have arranged accommodations for Jack. All of his teachers know not to call on his for reading or to answer questions, and he is allowed to raise his hand or have a friend respond for him when the teachers is taking the register.
He has a note from school with he can show his teachers if they question why he is not able to speak aloud.
Recently, my son has moved up to a higher level English class where he has a new teacher who I will call Mrs. A. Last week, she tried to get my son to read aloud. He showed her the note and she didn't make him. However, she emailed me saying that she didn't think my son needed the note.
I explained he did, and told her the school had evidence from his speech therapist, thinking that was it. That was until Monday, when I had to come pick Jack up from school.
The nurse said he felt sick, but when he got into the car he confessed that was not really the case. Basically, Mrs. A had asked him to read. He then showed her the note again, but she said that she had seen him talking to his friends and knew he could speak fine when he wanted to, and telling him not to be so shy. When my son refused, she promised to let the whole class out early if he read. Again he shook his head. Some of his classmates were understanding, but as it's a new class some of them don't know him as well and were upset at him for the fact they didn't get an early break, causing them to be rude to him. Me and my husband were obviously very upset and sent an email to the school to report her, but I also made a post on the school's parent WhatsApp group calling her a cruel, power-tripping bully, and explaining what happened. From what I can gather, a screenshot of my message got shared around with many other parents siding with me. However, I received a message today from the school warning me not to use abusive language to describe teachers, and telling me to please speak to the school directly instead of complaining online, as it could compromise teacher safety. Part of me feels justified in sharing, but I don't know if I went too far in calling her that and then sharing it to a group chat with basically all the year's parents, especially if it could really put her in danger.
Am I the asshole?
Edit. My son does have speech therapy and has improved over time. The accommodation aren't designed to be there his whole life and we are working on speaking in front of a group.
Hopefully he will feel confident enough after the summer holiday, but experiences like this where he feels forced to speak do set him back and make it harder. Look, I'm not going to vote one way or another, and I do think the teacher handled it inappropriately, but what was the point of posting in the social group?
Not being snarky, but legitimately curious.
If you thought the school was going to handle the issue you raised, what were you hoping to achieve with the post other than just venting? Also, are the accommodations made with the school actually enough?
It seems like it may need to be something more concrete like an IEP or 504, though may also not qualify since the issue does not seem to be severe. It just seems like the note is something the teachers can ignore if they choose to.
More like a request than an actual accommodation they have to follow. Not the asshole. I would share the message from the school as well.
Where was the concern for student safety when this teacher pinned the blame on your son for not letting the class go early? Why is student safety disregarded while teacher safety is paramount?
Their response is really ironic and hypocritical. Not the asshole. I find it ironic that shaming the teacher in front of others, online, is unacceptable and compromises safety, but shaming a child in front of others is perfectly fine for some reason? Not the asshole. Also, hell the fuck no, the school shot back. I would screenshot that shit and go straight to the head of the school district with that BS.
Abusive language?
What the fuck was the teacher doing when she was attempting to bully your son into doing something he wasn't comfortable with? If able, get the law involved. I would raise hell and ruin the entire school for this nonsense.
How dare they? This is straight up an attempt to pressure you into submission. Don't take it.
Shit, recruit other parents to help. I have no patience for school districts power tripping like this. Thumbs down.
Not the asshole. You communicated that the accommodations were necessary and instead of complying with those accommodations, she doubled down by using his peers against him.
Now it is no longer just a teacher bullying him, she set the stage for him to be bullied by his peers. I probably would have gone to administration prior to communicating it in a parent group, but I also know from being in those parent groups, sometimes the only way to get the school to deal with issues is to make them public. Otherwise, they sweep it under the rug and the child continues to suffer.
Not the asshole. That teacher is a genuine bully and should not be allowed to teach. As someone who didn't have parents sticking up for them like that, I am really glad to hear you go to such lengths to accommodate your son's needs less than 3.
Am I the asshole for siding with my brother over my very pregnant sister? Am I the asshole?
My brother, Spencer, 38, bought an expensive Father's Day gift, gave it to him, and told my dad it was from all of his kids.
The problem is, he didn't ask any of us before giving it to my dad.
If split evenly between the 4 of us, this gift is still 3-4x what I would normally spend on a Father's Day gift. He said he wanted to say it was from all of us because he didn't think our dad would accept such an expensive gift from only him.
So I'm a little annoyed,
but Spencer never asked any of us to actually chip in. I know that he has been having a rough time with my dad, and I figure he's trying to improve that with a big, thoughtful but way too expensive gift.
I talked about it with my husband and we agreed to kind of ignore it.
It's fine if Spencer wants to say it's from the group or not, but since we didn't have any forewarning, we don't feel obligated to go in on this gift.
My sister, Anne,
34, had a different reaction.
She feels that he made her complicit in a lie, and that she doesn't feel safe being around him while he's acting impulsive and possibly manic.
Anne told Spencer he needs to talk to his therapist and psychiatrist, tell her dad he lied, and told him that he was not welcome to be around her family or to meet her baby, who is due to be born soon, until he can manage his impulsiveness and outbursts. Spencer apologized to Anne, and said that he would do what she asked, but that he didn't feel safe communicating with her anymore and that she can see his kids through his ex-wife if Anne would like. Then he left our sibling group chat and also separately apologized to my other sibling and I for being impulsive and inconsiderate.
I'm so frustrated and sad. I loved that my siblings and I were all talking again. It was a nice couple years.
Anne said she is disappointed in Spencer's response and said she didn't intend for him to go no contact, but she was fine if he did.
I told her that I loved her, but I interpreted the same, "You're cut off.
Stay away from me," message that Spencer did. I basically told her that she's in the wrong and the ball is in her court.
I might be a little biased towards Spencer because he was much nicer to me than Anne was growing up. Am I the asshole? Edits.
The actual numbers: I'm a cheapskate and aim to spend for $25 $35 for a family gift like that.
Spencer spent $400 for a second-hand grill that retails new for $1,000.
Spencer had a manic episode a year and a half ago that was caused by thyroid problems.
He was not diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
I'm 30, if it's relevant to you.
Info. Wow, this is odd.
At first I felt like it was just a big green egg that you didn't want to pitch in for. Then suddenly your sister is saying this is indicative of serious mental illness on his part and he can't be around her baby.
Think we need some more info here.
What the hell?
Your brother bought a gift. For your dad. As an adult sibling, this is pretty common? It's from all of us, is a very minor white lie.
If Anne feels unsafe, I think it's Anne who needs therapy, not Spencer.
Not the asshole, of course. Not the asshole. Your sister way overreacted. He was making a nice gesture.
This is an extremely common, low-stakes, white lie.
Otherwise I guess it's time to call up every woman in my family who always signs cards from her husband and kids too. And my mom who still insists on including my name on every Christmas gift she gives to extended family because they're all manic. She feels that he made her complicit in a lie, and that she doesn't feel safe being around him while he's acting impulsive and possibly manic.
Anne told Spencer he needs to talk to his therapist and psychiatrist, tell her dad he lied, and told him that he was not welcome to be around her family or to meet her baby, who is due to be born soon, until he can manage his impulsiveness and outbursts.
Info. What the fuck?
This seems like you either left out why your sister would have this reaction, or else your sister is absolutely insane. So what's your take here? This seems like an absurdly out of proportion reaction to being told bro got dad a gift and said it was from everyone.
Info. Why exactly is this an issue? He hasn't asked any of you to pay for this gift.
Why do either of you care? Holy shit, either there is a ton of backstory missing here, or else all of you are going nuclear over an expensive gift that has no effect on any of you.
Am I the asshole for announcing my pregnancy? Hi all, so a little bit of background: my husband and I have been married for a year, and are 14 weeks pregnant. We have been together for 5 years total, currently 28 and 30. I have a pretty complex family dynamic, in that I have 2 older sisters from my dad's side, then my parents separated when I was 9, got back together when I was 21, an entire drama. In that time my mom had my little sister, and my dad a little sister, both with previous partners. I in total have 4 sisters ages 36-15. My parents are very happy together, and all my siblings seem to get on with my parents, their step-parents. The issues comes, that there is a view from my older sisters that I am my dad's favorite, due to being his only child with my mom. My oldest sister has been struggling with infertility for over 5 years. My next oldest sister has never been in a relationship and has previously called both my husband and I perverts, as she believes we both love sex. While this isn't untrue, I just think she has an odd relationship with it. My dad takes all his children, his partner and his daughter's partners on a family weekend every year. He pays. I found out I was 13 weeks pregnant, missed the early signs, a week before the trip. My husband and I decided to wait until the trip, a week later, to tell my family, as all my immediate family would be there. I was especially excited to tell my mom.
In the first night while we sat down for dinner, I basically said, "How would you all feel if there was baby surname here next year?" My mom got it, and cried. My dad even cried. Everyone seemed happy. Today on a group text with my 2 older sisters, they have said it was inconsiderate to my oldest sister, and my other older sister as it was rubbing it in.
In addition, they said it was proving that our dad cared for me and my mom more than them. Obviously I cannot comment on their relationship with my dad and my mom, however the actual pregnancy announcement I feel so sad about. I obviously am excited, and hope they would be too. So am I the asshole for announcing my pregnancy to my family at the same time, on a family weekend? Edit. Thank you all for comments. For reference, my older sisters and I love one another but are not close. My oldest sister is 8 years older than me, the other 6.5 years. My oldest sister specifically was gone by the time I was 10. She was out of state and I saw her 3 times a year. In the past couple I have seen her slightly more, but we don't have a friend relationship. I am closer to my other older sister, love her dearly, however as implied by the post above I think she could have her own things happening. We all get on significant other well when we see each other, and I would love to see all of my sisters more, however the family dynamics, combined with distances and my 2 older sisters' loyalties to each other could make that challenging. If I was to have texted my oldest sister before, I would not have trusted people I didn't want to know would know before my own mom. In addition, while I personally suspected infertility when I asked my other older sister, she denied this, and this was not confirmed until after I announced this by my brother-in-law who told my husband this with upset irritation. Not the asshole. You're a mixed family and mixed families will have stressful and happy things happening at the same time. I've been in that situation and you need to find enjoyment in the life of your extended family, or you're going to be miserable. Your sisters are Oz, and honestly, I would probably stop interacting with them as much anymore. Not the asshole. 1. I can understand why the one struggling for a baby may have been upset, but honestly, how were you ever going to mitigate that? She likely would have been upset however you did this. 2. You made a simple announcement, not a song and dance about it. 3. Older sister who thinks you're perverts, who cares? 4. Nothing you did smacks of any kind of favoritism from your parents at all. 5. Seems like it was always a lose-lose situation. I think announcing it at the family gathering was fine, but it would have been considerate to give your 5 years infertility struggling sister a heads up in advance. No assholes here really. Not the asshole, what you did is fine and they seem very main character Y and victim complex Y. I suppose what the one that has struggled with infertility might have wanted was for you to pull her aside and tell her privately, separately, but what did the other one, the one with the odd relationship to sex, want exactly? They seem to have unfair issues with you and I suspect you can't ever really do anything right in their eyes, stemming from their feeling that you are the favorite. I'm sure their bitter minds are thinking that this will endear you to your parents even more. But what are you supposed to do? Put a damp rag on every uplifting news you ever have? Their stance here is not reasonable or fair to you. Ash, the only thing I'll say up is if your eldest sister is still trying to conceive, giving her the heads up would have helped her in the moment you announced to everyone. It is not unknown that women actively trying to conceive and having difficulty are emotionally, mentally under immense pressure. A joyous group announcement from her own sibling could be triggering. One of your sisters thinks that you and your husband enjoying sex together is perverted. That's utterly bizarre.